In this video, we are going to go ahead and continue analyzing extrema on a function or of a function and finding specifically the global and absolute extrema of a function. We previously looked at finding the local or relative maximum and minimum points. And so then now we're going to be looking at absolutely or like total what the highest and lowest point is on a graph. So now one thing we have to consider though is that a function can only have global or absolute extrema on an interval. So they have to provide an interval for you to look at. The maximum and minimum points can change based on the domain or the interval that you're examining. So, for example, for this function, we're going to be dealing with x squared, but we're going to be looking at it on different intervals or domains. So if we're considering x squared on the domain from -infinity to infinity, so that's just a regular parabola function. And we can write down the very highest and the very lowest point of this graph. So this graph very obviously has a lowest point at 0, 0. So we would say that you have an absolute minimum at 0, 0. And then because your graph goes up forever, there is no absolute maximum point. Okay. So now let's consider y equals x squared from 0 to 2. Hard brackets on interval notation means it includes 0 and 2. So this is, you might not have seen this type of notation before. Another way to write this would be from, this domain would have been from -infinity is less than x is less than infinity, or this one would be 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2. So if we draw our parabola, but only on that interval, we would go from 0 and then to 2. It'd be up here somewhere. We're not going to make it exact, but that's the part of your parabola that would be from 0 to 2, and it includes your endpoints, so you should have closed circles at those endpoints. So on this domain or on this interval, what would we say our absolute max and min are? So our absolute minimum would still be at 0, 0, because that's the very lowest point. And then we would have an absolute max now at 2, if I plug that in, 2 squared is 4. So because the only thing that changed was the interval that we were looking at, and so now you do have an absolute minimum and an absolute maximum. Now let's look from 0 to 2, but with a soft bracket on 0. So we would have 0 less than x less than or equal to 2. So we don't actually include 0 in this one. So you'd have an open circle there, and then go up, close circle there. This one, we would say that you definitely still have that absolute max at 2, 4, but this time our graph is technically getting infinitely close to 0, 0. We never hit it though, and so we can't say that we have an absolute minimum point because you'll just forever be getting lower and lower and lower as you approach 0. So we'd say no absolute minimum on this part. You can probably guess then what would be happening when we look at this next interval. So this one includes 0 but doesn't include 2. So we'd have a closed circle at 0 and then open circle up here. So we would say that you, yes, definitely have an absolute minimum value at 0, 0, but this one has no absolute max because you're going to forever be approaching the 0.2, 4, getting higher and higher and higher, but never actually reaching it. And then last but not least, we're considering the function from 0 to 2, but not including either 0 or 2. And so we have an open circle here and an open circle here, which means that you have no absolute minimum and no absolute max, because you'll forever be approaching 2, 4 and forever be approaching 0, 0, but you will never reach either. So you'll just forever be getting higher and forever be getting lower. So the interval that you're considering it on is very important. All right, so then now we're going to go ahead and kind of write some notes for finding the highest and lowest point on your entire interval of your entire graph. So the same rules apply for how we found our local or relative maximum and minimum points. So you first find the critical numbers, make a sign chart, apply your first derivative test. You want to find the y-coordinate of each local or relative max and min because you're finding the point itself. But then the last thing you have to do for finding extreme values or your absolute values, excuse me, is you need to compare your local or relative maxes and mins to the endpoints. And the reason that we're going to do that, we're actually going to skip to the very bottom of the notes really quickly. So the very last page is because of this theorem. And so this theorem says that if f is a continuous function on a closed interval, then f has both a maximum and a minimum value on that interval. So there's, as long as you have a function on some interval, there will be a maximum and a minimum point. Now they could be your locals, right? So here for this would be an example of where you have a local max that is also the actual or absolute max, is your local or global. So there is an example of where you could have a local maximum that is also the global maximum, as well as a local min that is also your global min. Okay, so that's the first example. In the second example, you can see that you don't have any local maxes or mins, and so you just have to look at your endpoints. So there's an example of where your endpoint is the global max, and then another endpoint is the global min. Okay, or you could end up with an example like the third example where it's split half and half. So my local max is also my global, but then we don't have any local minimum, so then my local min is an endpoint. Oh, excuse me, not my local min. My endpoint is my global min. So that means that when you're looking at extrema, when you're looking at your absolute or the very highest and the very lowest, it can either only occur at locals or at your endpoints. There's nowhere else that you could have the global or the highest and lowest points, okay? So in the first example, the absolute extrema are the relative extrema. And then in the second example, the absolute extrema are the endpoints. Just kind of making this a little more clear. And then in the third example, the absolute minimum is an endpoint, where the absolute maximum is a relative max. Okay, so when you're actually, this is what our extreme value theorem states. So when you're actually going to do this problem, and when we do this example, you have to find your local max and min first, but then you just have to compare it to your endpoints, because that is where your global extrema will occur, either at your local or relative maxes or mins or at your endpoints. So let's go ahead and try this first example. So we have our function, and we want to find the absolute extrema of this function on the interval -2 to 3. Remember I said you can't find globals without an interval. So, so let's do it. So the first thing we're going to do is find our local. So we need to find our derivative, which would give me 6x squared minus 6x minus 12. And we're going to set it equal to 0. And then we'll pull out a GCF. And then we'll factor. What's that? -2 plus 1. Okay. So that means that my critical numbers are at -1 and 2. And so then I'm going to go ahead and make a sign chart. So -1, 2. And now I'm going to test values in between -1 and 2, and then on either side of them to find whether or not my first derivative is positive or negative. We're applying the first derivative test. So let's see, if I plug in like -2, for example, I would end up with 6, which is positive. -2 minus 2 is a negative number, and these are all multiplying. And then -2 plus 1 is another negative number. So positive times a negative would be positive. So that's what I was testing. I was testing -2 in there. Oops. And you don't need to write out this part. I'm just doing that for your notes. Then I'll test 0, because 0 is an easy one. 0, and then I'll also test, let's do 3. You could technically do like 10,000 if you wanted to. It's to the right of 2. I just like smaller numbers. All right, so f prime of 0 would be, so 6 would be positive, 0 minus 2 is negative, 0 plus 1 is positive, so positive times a negative times positive would be negative, and then f prime of 3, you'd end up with a positive times a positive times a positive, so that'll be positive. All right, so we have we'll write it up here. Well, here, I'll just do this. This would be a local max, because your derivative changes from positive to negative. This would be a local min, because your derivative changes from negative to positive. And then now we just have to see and compare those to our endpoints. So I'll have to find f of all of the things, basically. So I'm going to find f of my endpoints. So we'll do f of -2. Then we'll find f of -1, because that's a local max. And then f of 2, because it's my local min. And then f of 3. So we're just finding all of those values. So this is the, excuse me, compare your relative extrema. Oops, I'm out of room. Extreme, well, I'll just write extrema, because it's, and endpoints. It's fighting with me. Okay, so this is an endpoint, this is an endpoint, and then these are my extrema. So I'm just going to find f of all of them, and then see which one is the very highest and which one is the very lowest. And we're definitely going to have to do some math for these ones, so let's go ahead and get started. I would cheat and use my calculator, but I'm expecting you guys to be able to do this, so I better be able to do it too. So we're just plugging this in. 2 minus 12 times -2 plus 5. And then we're going to do the same thing for -1. And then for 2. And then for 3. Oh, no, stop it. Watch out for that arithmetic, it'll get you. All right, let's see if I can do this. So 2 times -8, so that's -16 minus 12 more. So that would be -28 plus 24. So that'd just be -4 plus 5, which is 1. Well, that's a nice answer. This one would give me -2 minus 3. So -5 plus 5 would cancel. And then -12 times -1 is 12. And then, let's see, 2 times 8 would be 16. So 16 minus 12 would be 4. And then once we have 4 minus 24 would be -20. -20 plus 5 is -15. And then last but not least, we have 2 times, 27, right? So 2 times 27 is 54. 54 minus 27 would be 27, and then 27 minus 36 would -9. -9 plus 5 would be -4. I'm gonna pause real quick and go check these in my calculator so I didn't lie to any of you guys or make any mistakes. All right, perfect. It looks like we're good to go. And so if I wanted to find my actual extrema, my very highest would actually be my local max, because so my local max produced the absolute maximum as well. And then my very lowest, it would actually be my local min. So my local min produced the absolute min as well. Awesome.